Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Different time zones everyone's in. Welcome to session 7 of our special edition author salon using AI as a writing tool. And we have, once again, we're excited to have our AI Writers Connection contributing author Marigold to guide us through this really fun session. So I'm going to send it to her and take it away.
Good morning, and a warm welcome to yet another inspiring installment of our eGlobal Writing Salon series. As Galen stated, I'm Marigold, and I'm delighted to serve as your facilitator for today's 7th session. Joining me are actually my writing partner, WordSpinner, and guest speaker, Lynn Jordan. Ladies, would you please introduce yourselves?
I'm WordSpinner, also known as CC. I'm a writer from Texas. How about you, Miss Lynn?
I'm Lynn Jordan, and right now I'm in Southern California where it isn't any too warm. And I'm a writer and a tech nerd. So AI is just what I do.
Hey, I can totally relate to that, Miss Lynn. Now, today is a great honor to lead you into this discourse. Now, one of the things that I really want to point out is whenever you're using AI in the publishing or marketing realm, it opens up so many different doors for you. We're at a pivotal chapter in our series right now, and I'm so proud to present this eGlobal Creative Publishing session. Now, it takes pioneers at the forefront of evolving digital narratives. When we take a look at where we were at even a year ago with AI, it was something brand new to me, and there had been people that had been using AI for multiple years. So this was a relatively new concept for me, but seeing how far it has evolved in just a year is just mind-boggling. I know that when Cece and I picked up ChatGPT, at the time it was version 3, and then we went into 3.5 and 4. And today, some of these tools that we started with, you can now actually generate cover art, promotional art. There's so many different things that you can do within these specific tools, and we're excited to show you that today. Now, eGlobal Creative Publishing takes pride in its commitment not only to its authors, but also to pioneering storytelling techniques. And I know that today's mission is to show some of the writers that walk of life, creating that melting pot where ingenuity flourishes without restraint. Today's dialogue will probe into the vibrant fusion of AI capabilities and marketing in the literary sphere. We'll dissect how AI tools can serve authors in their marketing ventures, from conceptualizing captivating book covers to drafting some compelling press releases. This gathering isn't merely about grasping AI as a mere instrument, but embracing it as a collaborative tool, an author's resource in the marketing narrative. We will aim to demonstrate how AI can be intricately woven into publishing strategies, elevating the narrative and reach of your literary work. The objectives for today's session are designed to give you a comprehensive understanding of AI's growing role in our industry. We will delve into how AI can take on tasks ranging from cover design to writing succulent and engaging taglines, blurbs, even book descriptions, and your marketing synopses and ad copy. Through an interactive demonstration, Cece and myself will gain hands on knowledge and experience in creating marketing material using AI tools, which we hope will inspire your own projects and the items that you will dive into. AI tools are revolutionizing the authors and publishers' creative and market content. When I first started out sitting down to write that blurb, my gosh, it seemed like it was even harder to write that blurb than it was to actually write the book. Taking a whole manuscript that's maybe 100,000 words or more, especially in a serialized body for that first season, and narrowing it down into, say, 100 words or even 25 words for an elevator pitch was just mind boggling and so hard because you think about everything in your story. But with AI and having the ability to feed in your story concept and have it spit out taglines, log lines, elevator pitches. It opens up a whole new avenue for you to explore. In addition to that, ChatGPT 4 and DALL-E are transforming ad copy and cover design with an unprecedented creativity, while tools like Midjourney and PlaygroundAI offer some robust solutions tailored to your publishing needs. DIY platforms, BookBrush, and Canva provide accessible, user friendly interfaces that empower authors to produce professional quality promotional material. Throughout today's session, we will explore the strengths of each tool and how they can compete with each other in your workflow and how they can complement the overall process. The landscape of AI in publishing is rich and diverse, offering a plethora of opportunities for authors and marketers alike to push those boundaries of what is actually possible today. Live tool demonstrations. Now, we're going to prepare to dive into a live demonstration of creating marketing material with AI. We will guide you through a step-by-step process showcasing how each tool can be utilized to achieve specific goals. Audience participation is not just welcomed, but we encourage it. Please share your thoughts and questions as we proceed. Whether you're an AI novice or have some experience, this demo is designed to enhance your understanding and to inspire your creativity. By the end of this activity, you'll have a solid foundation to start using these AI tools to benefit your own projects. At this time, I am going to go ahead and escape my presentation. And Miss Lynn, would you like to start us out inside of like maybe Claude or inside of ChatGPT 4 to show us how you can take a couple of different premises or even create a premise and then go from there to generate some images in DALL-E or even create a prompt inside of Claude, depending on which platform the author likes to use?
I can certainly do that. And Claude is one of my go-tos. I like the description. Sometimes he gets a little heavy with description, but I will call up some of my, oops, that was the one tool I didn't have up. So I will
Sorry
quickly
about that,
bring
Miss
him up.
Lynn.
That's all right.
Now, I will use Claude. I like to use Claude whenever I'm fleshing out a concept. I actually like Claude when I'm writing, say, young adult academy, or whenever I am fleshing out beats for a middle grade. I also like the way that Claude will write that immediacy you might find inside of a young adult novel or even a middle grade. And I've actually used it for a couple of new adult bodies for some college age or maybe some academy content or shifters for some of our younger readers. And I actually do Claude in that regard. And I think Miss Lynn is sharing her screen now.
I am, and I hope you can see my Claude. I have been working on this story with Claude, and Claude has basically gone off the rails, and he's working on his own story, and he does that. But I can ask Claude to describe the exterior, and I can't type today.
And that's actually the good thing about Claude or even ChatGPT 4 or some of the other LLMs. If you misspell something, they are so good at trying to figure out what it is that you're saying.
Yeah, you don't have to spell right. You don't have to do the proper grammar.
You definitely need that in your manuscript, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I've asked it to describe the exterior of the flower shop. He's done a very good job of describing the interior for me. In fact, too good. I've got too much description that I need to take out of the manuscript.
So can you
But
scroll up to show us a little bit of the information that you fed in to get this prompt?
okay, I've been working on this in several of the chats, but this one was the latest. Here's where I had it outline the
Chapters?
yes. And this is my Willow Creek story, which is our shared world in AI Writers Connection. And my heroine owns a flower shop that's sitting on the edge of town. So here's where Claude went off the rails. He's sending her flowers a lot. Well, she's a florist. He wouldn't send her flowers, especially if he's buying from a competitor because she's struggling to keep her shop afloat. But it does have the information about the flower shop and what it looks like. So
Now, it would be funny if he ordered flowers and had them delivered somewhere, and then at some point actually had her show up to the same location and she was delivering flowers to herself. That would be funny.
that could be. I could use that, but see, it knows that the name is Willow Creek Floral, and it's a brick facing building on the main street running through town. Large glass windows are overflowing with purple petunias. Now, this is Claude and his over describing.
Okay.
If I put this into Midjourney, it would probably choke.
So, what do you do to avoid maybe bottlenecking or choking a system? How do you get that prompt that is usable, say, in Midjourney or inside of ChatGPT 4 for DALL-E 3? Do you condense it? Do you ask for something specific? And can you use the same prompt across different platforms?
You absolutely can. And if you see here, I'm telling it to give me a prompt. This isn't a prompt. This is a big description that I can stick in the book and weight it down with more description.
So here you
But you,
stated to please condense this into a prompt for an AI model to generate an image.
yes. And you can ask the AIs anything. You can ask it to generate prompts. You can ask it if it understands a certain term. That's what I like about the chat engines, which is basically Claude and ChatGPT, especially for being able to go back and forth with it. And I always argue with Claude because Claude's always, okay, and see, he says, I aim to keep the key visual details and set the overall scene and mood. Let me know if you'd like me to modify it. Let's see. Let's just take it. And should we plop it into Midjourney and see what it does?
Oh, yes, please. Now tell
Okay.
us a little bit about Midjourney, Lynn. Now I see that you are inside of a Discord. Is this how you typically use Midjourney?
Yes, Midjourney is a Discord-based tool. They're working on a web and they're redoing it. So they're actually web interfaces in alpha. And only people who have generated at least 10,000 images are allowed into that alpha. And I do qualify for that, but I do a lot of the stuff in Discord because I can have my own server. And that way my work isn't mixed up with everybody else's work. It
Nice.
doesn't mean, depending on your subscription, your works are public unless you have the highest level. And so my pictures will actually go onto the website. And anybody can look at them, anybody can see the prompt, anybody can use them. But I'm not super worried about that because it creates thousands and thousands of images a day, and the most created image is cats. So they're welcome to mine if they want. But the prompt is imagine, and then I will
So
different
you just use
versions.
the slash imagine and then paste in your prompt?
Yeah, if you use imagine, it'll bring in the imagine and then the word prompt, and you put in your text behind that. I'm using version 6, and version 6 is very good. I'm quite impressed with that now. It and DALL-E leapfrog. One of them's better, and then the other one will come out with a new version. It's better, and so you have to look and see which one is the proper one at the time. Now, version 6 right now will do more like the shifter covers most of them have shirtless men. It will do
Yes.
that. The other versions won't.
Okay.
And it will do the writing is better. Not perfect, but better. So when you run, you get 4 images. And you can upscale those images, which I will right now. Or you can create a variation of them. I'll create a variation of 2. When you create the variation, you can make any change in the text you want.
So before you submit this one, with a
Yes.
variation, would you be able to, rather than say cafe table, sit outside in the front, could you ask for a view of the interior, or would you need a brand new prompt to show the interior?
Let's see.
I do the fact that it gives you up to 4 images to play with and gives you the option to play with different variations of the different image, because you do often find some covers that have the outside of a cafe, and sometimes you'll even see where they might even put the name of the cafe, like in a little hanging sign. So when you generate these images, Lynn, do you then take them into, say, like Canva or BookBrush, or even, say, Photoshop or some other art
Yes, I
generation
do.
or tool? Okay.
And
You have a favorite.
actually, I use PowerPoint.
Do you? Nice. Okay.
It's easier to move the images around
Ok
and combine them. And so that is my favorite. I don't care what it looks like at night. If you notice, I put the glimpse of inside. I don't need we can get rid of the cafe tables. See what this does. You can also just hit the remix button and get a whole new set. But when you remix, you also get a chance to change some of the
Now,
things.
these could be cute little promos, like image number 2 could have been a really cute promo, because you could have removed the written text in, say, Photoshop or Canva, and maybe put in, like, a little book cover, or you could have put in, like, a little blurb. So that could have been really cute.
Mhm. You can definitely do that. And you could stick your characters here if you wanted to.
Oh, that's cute.
Here's another one. Let's see. Oh, here's our open door peeping inside.
Oh, that's cute.
I think this one gives us the most. Let's upscale it and see what it does for us. And see, it took away the
Nice.
tables.
Okay.
And so it gave us that. The writing isn't, let's see, I'm going to say very subtle. Uh, Flower shop. If I tell it that it's Willow Creek Floral, maybe it will do better with the writing.
Now, are you able to also ask it to not have writing on there? Does it listen to that in Midjourney, or does it always want to put some form of writing on there?
You can tell it not to have writing. A lot of times, the more you tell it not to have writing, the more writing you'll get. But let's see. Okay, looks like it's not done yet. There we go. I like the flowers in that one. It took the writing off, so that's
On there?
we can't see what the door says, so that's all right. So now this one is binding us in, and we do have the wooden plank floors that her father laid. And we've got these shelves with the bases
Okay.
that is described in the interior description. So I think it's done a pretty good job.
Now,
Nowhere
what
did
about
I
a
tell it it was
character?
green.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, what about characters? Do you find it easy to create characters inside of Midjourney? Now, I saw that you had a gentleman in one of
Oh,
the prior
mhm.
images.
Yeah, this is a different book, but this is my vineyard owner.
Okay.
And what I started out with some up here, but can you hear the bird?
I
See that?
cannot.
Oh, good. Here's out in the vineyard. But what I can do, and I think I did it with that one because I like it. I did a very subtle, and I can get almost the same guy in different poses. So if I say very subtle, and I can leave it, and I'll hear all I say is handsome male standing in front of a winery. That's all I said. And I do that when I am out of ideas.
Okay.
Show me what you want. I'm a pantser when I do images as well as being a pantser at the thing. And here's another one with variations. You see, it's the same guy.
I
And
see
then I
that.
think I came down, and here I did a very strong, which it changed his position a little bit.
Okay.
And then I can pull any of those I want out, and I can upscale them.
Now, what if an author has a very specific description of their character? Would they be able to feed in that description of their character
Absolutely.
to maybe get somebody? Okay.
Absolutely. You wanna drop a character description, or you want one of mine?
Do you have one handy? If not, I can go and grab one.
Let's see. Let me find a I wanna go back to this. I should have. I'm looking
Now,
for pseudo right.
what if you have something as simple as man with brown hair, brown eyes at a winery
Okay.
wearing a leather jacket?
Okay, hang on a second. Let's make him handsome because he'll have to be handsome. Anything
And
else?
how about and jeans?
Okay. We'll see
Now,
what it
will it put a
does.
dog in there? Okay, say if you had a golden retriever, could you state that and state like a golden retriever in the background? Could you get as specific with
Well,
your
you
image?
can,
Okay.
but it will look like sometimes it looks like it's growing out of the man.
Oh, okay. So it's better to do the images separately then and maybe rearrange them inside of another tool.
It is. Now you can,
Okay.
like I'm getting him and the winery together. So that's, of course, it focuses, like most of them, it focuses on what is the last thing you told it. So our winery is in the background and we have him in the jacket. Which
Okay.
one of those do you like best? I don't think it's done yet. But yeah, there we go.
I don't know. I almost prefer number one.
Okay. Let's do variations of number one. I won't change anything. I promise I won't change anything.
So then
We'll
it
see what happens.
if it is a subtle change but uses the same look to the man, you could
Mhm.
have him standing. Now, if you hit subtle, are you able to put down that you want him in different with different backgrounds, or is it better to generate different poses of him and then generate maybe different backgrounds separately and then add the two together?
You can do that because, of course, there are programs that will pull out the background and
Okay.
make it plain. I can also tell Midjourney with on a plain white background or something. So
Okay.
we have here he comes up. Uh, Oh, see, now it's changed the winery background a little bit. So
Oh, okay. I see that. And yes, he does have kind of that same look. Interesting. Okay.
then if I want to, let's see, I'll just take number one and I'll upscale it. Then I can vary him.
Now, what does upscaling mean, Lynn?
That means make it a higher resolution image. However, Midjourney does not do super high resolutions.
Okay.
I would suggest that you put it in another program to upscale it for a book cover.
Oh, okay.
Now, these will work fine for promo images on the web,
Okay.
but their upscale, they're working on their upscale, but it's not, I don't trust it for a book cover. And
Good to
let's
know.
try, I'll do a couple of things with this one. If we want to vary it strong, and how did you want to change it?
So What if we wanted to put different backgrounds? We wanted the same guy, but we wanted different backgrounds. Is
Okay.
that something that we could ask for?
Okay. Where do you want him?
Maybe inside of a garden, maybe inside of a home, maybe outside of a home.
Okay, let's see. Try the garden first. And let's upscale creative and see what that's going to do. I don't use that one very much. But you can play around with these and get all sorts of images. And while I think about it, I have the cheapest subscription and I get 200 fast hours a month.
Oh,
But if you need more fast hours, that's $10. But if you need more fast hours, all you have to do is rate some images for them and you can get the fast hours. If you're
oh,
among the top 2,000 raters in a day, you get another 100 fast hours.
oh, interesting.
So when I'm running out, I rate, okay, here's your guy in the garden. Where else did you want him?
Let's see. So in the garden, maybe inside of a rustic home.
Okay.
Now I can definitely see where you could spend hours and hours just playing with some of these images.
This is the time sink.
Now, if you were to take some of the same prompts that you used here inside of, say, ChatGPT for DALL-E, you could get different images there as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, what if I wanted to use one of these images? Say I wanted to use number 4, but
Okay.
whenever I look at number 4, it has maybe cut off some of his hair, and it's really not the size or length of the image for a book cover.
Mhm.
Do you find that there's any specific tool that you can use to help you fill in that additional area so that you can have it set up like, say, a book cover?
Yes, to start off with the book cover, you can give it an aspect ratio.
Okay.
And the book cover aspect ratio would be, this is the one we were working on. I'll do it. And I usually get this wrong when I try to add it here, but they are 9 by 16 will give you more of a book cover aspect. So
Okay.
let's see if it tells me you did that wrong. No, it didn't tell me I did it wrong.
Miss Lynn, in addition to doing that, could you also give it actual pixels, say 2820 by 4200 or something like that?
No, with Midjourney you can't. You have to give it a ratio.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Now, is there an area where you can go to find out what the Midjourney measurements are? If you were to ask Claude or even ChatGPT 4, could you ask them for the Midjourney measurements and get those?
You could. You very well could. And it doesn't have to be like 9 by 16. You can make it 3 by 4 or whatever. And there's other things that equal 9 by 16. My math isn't good enough for that. But you can
Okay.
also, Midjourney has a open Discord, and
Okay.
that's where people are in there. You can ask questions, and they also hold an office hour every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Oh,
And they talk about, they start off with 30 minutes of talking about what they're working on, where they're going, and then they take questions.
oh,
And so
okay.
you can ask questions of the main developer.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But I think they've made a change because you used to have in painting and out painting. And I don't see it here. It was very region. And say you wanted to change this area over here behind him or something, that you could do that. And I have done that. I have a woman who I've changed what she's holding in her hand, but I haven't been to the office hours lately, so I'm out of the loop. But see, here's a very creative, and oh, and here's our book cover image, right? That's
Okay.
more of a, let's see, let's
But then you
upscale.
would, so could you grab, earlier, could you grab just one of the guys and make him just one whole image
Here, that's what I
for
just
the
did.
cover? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Okay.
Because anytime, this is just a choice, and upscaling will make it a single image. And then if you want it, you can just download it. You can save the image. You can actually copy the link
Okay.
and put it in here. I think this is the right prompt. It will change. It'll change it. It'll shorten it up when I type in. And so we'll see what it does. I'm telling it to use that image and change things.
Okay. Now, how do you use Midjourney whenever you are working with marketing content, Lynn?
When this finishes, I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you what I did with one of these pictures. Now, see, I lost my aspect ratio. I'd have to tell it the aspect ratio again.
So you have
Oh,
to give it
we
the
have a woman.
ratio each time whenever you're inputting the information?
The ratio
Oh,
has to
you-
be there. The
Okay.
ratio has to be there. And when I did that, it didn't have the ratio in it because it just had the image.
Uh-huh.
But if I do this one and say I want to vary, see, the ratio's still there.
Ah, okay.
So as long as it's still there.
So
Good
now
deal.
on any of these images, even the one with the guy and the girl, you could
Yeah.
potentially take that image, download it, and then you could take it into Canva and then use their magic wand, and you could extend the image either up or outward to the side, depending on the size that you needed. Now,
Right.
that's always an option for people who may be using it. Now, image number 3, you could actually add a girl over on the left-hand side, so you could potentially turn that into a cover. But if you needed to extend additional, make it either taller or wider for, say, a print book, or different variations of it for maybe for eGlobal, for maybe a cover, you could definitely do that as well.
Yeah. Turn this into a cover. And I'm disappointed that the out painting and the in painting is gone.
Oh. Wow, look at the wispy hair on her, right down to that detail. Now, one thing that you do have to look at often with these LLMs, you want to make sure that you're doing a count of how many fingers the individual has. Are the hands in the right position? They are getting better now, but keep in mind that's always an area that you want to take a look at. Now, if the hands are messed up, is that going to be an issue? If you're going to put a title over that section, then you could use some form of maybe a black fade or something that would hide that area, and then you could put your fonts over that for your title so that you don't really see the hands, but you know that they're there. So always keep in mind that you can definitely do that. And as we go on further, I'll show y'all some examples of that.
Yeah. This version has gotten much better with hands, but you can certainly put something over the top. Even another image or something.
Okay. So, Lynn, can you download one of those images that we might want to turn into a book cover?
Okay, one you really like?
Let's
The
go
ones up
back to the
here.
one where the couple is, where you
Okay, I
saw
went
the
too
little
far, didn't
couple.
I? Went too far.
Yeah,
There, that one.
right there. So can you download the bottom 2 images?
If I have to upscale them before I can download them. So I'll upscale
Now
number 4.
okay. Now Barbara says, "I like using Leonardo AI because it lets me pick the ratio I want before it creates." So definitely, I know that people are using Leonardo AI as well. And Leonardo also has a paid version, she says, called Photo Real, which takes care of not having the twisted or extra fingers. That is really good to know. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Now Leonardo's good. And Leonardo also lets you train your own image. So if you have a character, theoretically you could put it in there and it will train it. Okay, if I download it, I can save the image and I can put it into downloads. And then I can use it someplace else.
Oh.
But what I did want to show was you can take these
Mhm.
and you can use these for promotional images. And in this
Okay.
case, I took an image that I made. I can't remember. I think I made it in Midjourney. I may have made it in DALL-E. Ooh, you can't hear that, can you?
I cannot, but if you go in and click, you can click within Zoom to share
Yeah.
the voice.
Yeah. Let me stop my share and start my share again because I didn't think I'd be doing anything for video. And I certainly can. Yeah, it doesn't want
Now,
to optimize. That's okay.
where were you just at?
This is a video that I've downloaded that I
Okay,
could
and where did you
use.
create the video at?
I created it in Studio ID, and I'll show you that in a
Okay,
minute. Drop the link.
okay.
Let me start him over. Okay, you've got him.
We've got a problem. Little Miss Intrepid Reporter is getting too close for comfort, asking all kinds of questions about our team, our tactics. It's only a matter of time before she starts digging into our personal lives.
And this
That's
is one
cool.
where I asked for the wolf to be in the background, and it's not exactly in the background, but at least it's not growing out of his shoulder like some of them do.
Now, where's the
Back
voice
to our
from?
the voice is in the Studio ID,
Okay,
which I think they have a partnership with 11 Labs. And I think this is an 11 Labs one. Here's DALL-E did this guy in the vineyard. Oh, and here's your Cajun heat. And
you
here's
can
one of the,
you can show that one if you want to.
okay, let's see.
I actually just signed the
The bayou
contract.
is as silent as a grave. It was fitting since that was where I was headed. Because today I'm burying my mother.
Oh, that was Marigold's cover that I used for that one.
And all you
But
needed for
what,
that was just the cover image, and
mhm.
then you were able to add the voice onto that.
And here's your branded ones here with your name and your
The
title.
bayou is as silent as a grave. It was fitting since that was where I was headed. Because today I'm burying my mother.
Very cool.
So that's a fun way to make promotional images. And that's one thing you can do with these pictures after you do that. You can just stick a little script in there, and I will stick this URL in the.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so
Is this a good time for me to interject with a couple of comments that we have in chat?
Yes,
All right.
perfect.
Rafaela says she's using Chrome AI and it's very nice as well with lots of possibilities for free. And then Barbara said you can pick one character you want as a model and upload it, and the generations will follow the model and create something unique. And then Barbara also mentioned that Canva has an option for creating a video with Studio DID. for free, but it is limited to 2 minutes.
There are so many tools, and each one of them has its own advantages and its disadvantages. I suggest you find ones you're comfortable with and keep using them, because I show you what I use the most, and I use PowerPoint. I have everything, but you get used to using one, and that's, what you're comfortable with, but you can try them all. Find one that really works for what you wanna do. There's no one right or one wrong, and like I said, they leapfrog each other every time they come out with a new version.
For it.
Mira, do you wanna show Canva?
I am actually
do you wanna
going to show something on DALL-E.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and share my screen here. I wanted to show y'all how you can take some of the content that you are playing with and actually say, take your first chapter or even take your blurb to come up with content. Now, can you confirm that you can see my Chat GPT-4?
We can.
So let me go ahead and make this full screen. So as you notice here, I have Chat GPT and I have DALL-E, and then I can also explore GPTs. Now, if I go into DALL-E, I could go in and ask it to generate images for me, but I can also come here into my Chat GPT-4, and maybe I want to come in and take, let's say I want to take a first chapter. So let me come up here. I'm going to grab my first chapter just so that you can see what I'm doing here. I'm scrolling all the way through and I'm going to grab this chapter. And you can even grab maybe 3 chapters, depending on what kind of content that you want to upload. Now, if I had my blurb or say my synopsis handy, I could do that. I could use that as well. So let's see. Please create a prompt for AI image generation using the elements found in the first chapter of my novel. Now I could input that and let's see what it comes up with. Now I do this often, especially if I am generating a brand new body of work and maybe I have already fleshed out my concept. I have my premise, I have my synopsis, I have all of the information that I need. I've already created my story beats. And I can actually ask the LLM to give me a prompt. Now, this one is talking about a haunting bayou setting draped in wispy Spanish moss. Now, this is pretty long, like what Lynn was saying. If I wanted to use that in, say, Midjourney or even inside of Playground AI, which I do like to use also, it would be too long for me to showcase. One of the things that I could do now that I have this information, I could just stop it and I can ask it to give me a prompt and I could specify that it is, say, 50 words or less that directs an AI to generate a mock image. Now, I can ask it to give me specific sizes. Maybe I want it to give me something that would be for a cover. Maybe I want it to give me something that would fit more of, say, a square. So I could ask it to do that. Let's say I wanted something that was more of a 1600 by 1600. Now, if I don't know if it creates a 1600 by 1600, one of the things that's really good about ChatGPT-4 is that sometimes it will tell me if that image is viable. Now, I could ask, are you able to create images this size? And let's see what it comes up with. So it says that it can generate images like 1024 by 1024 or 1792 by 1024. So It gives me a couple of different ones. Now, it does let me know it can't do 1600 by 1600. So if you don't know the measurements, know that it's okay. You can ask it to give you something specific in one of the measurements that it gives you. So it's asking me, would you like an image based on this prompt? I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to ask it to make it let's go with the 1024 by 1024. And let's see what it gives us. Now, it will give you, sometimes it'll give you more than one image at a time, but when you are asking for really specific image sizes, it is generally going to give you just one image. And here it has a young lady. It has the wispy moss coming off of the trees. Now, what if I wanted it to be darker? I could ask it to generate again, but this time give it a dark, gothic feel. Make Raven have dark hair, fair skin, and wearing all black. So let's see what that gives us. And again, you can ask it to give you different types of images. If all you wanted was a background, maybe I wanted something that was more gothic looking and I wanted maybe a cemetery in the bayou in the background. I could ask for that. Now, I could ask it to make it even darker. I could make it more vibrant. And all of these questions are things that I could keep going back and forth with the LLM. Now, I could also, if I had prompts that were already written, I could come here and maybe I want it to give me a cinematic poster of a Navy SEAL. I could come in and take one of my prompts that I'd come up with prior, similar to what I did here with this young lady, but I could ask it to generate an image here. And let me go ahead and paste this prompt in. Now, here I'm asking it to create a cinematic poster for an ebook cover that blends elements of romance. Now, sometimes when you say an ebook cover, sometimes it will give you a mock-up that is in the size of an ebook cover, but you also run the risk of it actually giving you, say, an ebook cover on a tablet. So make sure that you're aware of that because that does happen to a lot of people. Now, if I didn't want it to give me maybe an ebook cover in a tablet, then I would have to go ahead and ask it to maybe give me a mock-up of a specific size so that I know that body of work is what I'm looking for. Now, looking at this young lady here, I could take this image, I could download this, and in a little bit, I could actually go in and load that up into Canva, and I could turn that into, say, a book cover if I wanted to, or I could turn it into a promotional image. But for a book cover, if I didn't want it to be just her up close, I could expand the image, either the top or the bottom or out to the side, depending on the needs of my body of work. Now, here is my cinematic poster of an ebook cover. In this instance, it did give me the image of the guy and the girl, and it has them back to back. Now, why did it give me the guy and the girl? Because I asked it to focus, that the focus should be on two main characters, a female video game designer and a male former Navy SEAL. Now, if I wanted to change his hair color, I could do that. If I wanted to change her hair color or put it up in a ponytail, I could ask the LLM to make those changes as well. Now, this image here, I could definitely take and put it into, say, ChatGPT. One of the things that I will encourage you to do is always look at the eyes. See how her eyes look a little bit funky? I could ask for the LLM to regenerate, and I'm definitely going to look at her hands. Now, I don't see her pinky here, but that's not too much of an issue. I don't see her thumb, but depending on the positioning of her hands, I may not see some of that. Her hand does look like it's floating a little bit here, so I could ask the LLM to regenerate this image. Now, here I could ask it to regenerate. And again, all you're doing is having a back and forth conversation with the LLM. And I could even say to make sure the eyes look realistic, the eyes and hands look realistic. I could ask for additional information. Now, keep in mind that when I do this, it is going to generate and my couple may actually change. I know in some of these programs, not so much with ChatGPT 4 yet. You can almost get the same character sometimes, but I can try to use the ID number for the image that was generated that I liked, but it wouldn't necessarily always give me that couple. Now, if I go into, say, I take this image into Midjourney and generate variations of it, I could hit the little subtle area that Lynn used, and I would get different variations of the same image that I might be able to use. So again, using the tools, you might find that you might start generating in one tool, but you may find that as you move on, you may actually find that you can finish or polish an image in another program, whether it is BookBrush, Canva, Photoshop, or GIMP, or any other program that you like to use. Definitely know that those different options are out there for you. I'm going to download this one as well, but let's take a close up of the eyes. Now, his eyes look a little better. Her eye here looks pretty good, but this one still looks like it bulges out a little bit. Her mouth looks pretty good here, but from a distance, that may not show as much. And let's take a look at the hands. So I can't see her pinky. I can see a finger that's coming down. So I know that I have four here and a thumb, but I can't necessarily see her pinky here. But if I have fonts over her hands, it would hide that. Now, this section of the hand here on her looks a little odd. But again, if I were to take this image as a starting point and take it into another program, it would probably give me better hands, like the one individual said about Leonardo, or even taking it into Midjourney. I could probably potentially get better images, but I could use these as a starting point. So let me go ahead and pull up. Now, whenever you log in to say, like this right here, this is Playground. So before I go into Canva, I want to take a look at this information as well. If I'm in here looking, I know that if I click and go to Profile, it's going to show any images that I might have created. This is a brand new profile for me, so I have not generated anything on this screen yet. So that's why I have no images here. If I want to take a look at the community feed, and again, I'm in playground.com. If I go in and look at the community feed, I can look at some of the different images here, and I can hover over and see what kind of a prompt the individuals have used. Now, I could also ask for if I wanted to write a monster romance. I could definitely come in here and you could look at maybe some of the different types of prompting that people use here. And if I were to click on one of these, I can see that this is what this individual used for the prompt. They do allow you to go in and use some of their prompting to create your own. But what I would recommend that you do, take a look at how they're using this. The guidance scale, maybe what model they're using, maybe a specific filter that they're using. And you could do that with your own prompt. Because if you use somebody else's prompt, you could end up with an image that you're not looking for or may not fit the needs of your story. The other problem with using some of the prompts that are here, you might end up using something that somebody else has created and it may be too close to that individual's prompt. Now, I can to their image that they created. Now, I could definitely come down here and take a look, and maybe I want a specific image. I can take a look at some of the descriptions that they might use and then write my own. But again, you want to make sure that if you like a specific style, see what they used. You can see this one is stable diffusion. There is not a specific filter that was used on this one. Maybe if I scroll down further and I take a look at another, I see that this one has a lot of description in here. And if I look down, this one is a delicate detail for the filter style. So again, this is one of the things that I like to do. I like to know, okay, which model is somebody using? Do I like the model that they have used? How would that model maybe work with one of my prompts? So I can definitely go in and I can play with a prompt. Now, there are two different ways to play with a prompt. And again, if I go to profile, I don't have anything there. Now, I can create an image two different ways. I can either create on a board or I can click to create over here. Now, I do tend to like to create on the board. Here, I'm able to specify what kind of search or filtering that I want to use. And I can use any of these from maybe a cinematic to a masterpiece. I can even do black and white if I were doing a coloring book. I can also, I stay away from the Spielberg one, but I do like to use the cinematic and I like to use the cinematic warm depending on what I am generating. And in addition to that, one of the things that I like about Playground AI is that I can put my prompt up here and I can tell it what things that I would like to exclude. As a default, I have excluded ugly, deformed, noisy, blurry, distorted, out of focus, bad anatomy, extra limbs, poorly drawn hands, missing fingers. Maybe I also want to add poorly drawn eyes. Now, I can also state that I want it to avoid text, letters, numbers, titles, names. And will it do that 100% of the time? No, not always. But again, remember, it's an LLM and you have to continuously guide it. Now, are there some questions inside of the chat right now, ladies?
No question.
No
Okay.
questions. I did want to say that I did some exploring in Midjourney, and the 5.2, and I think the 5.1 version does have the in painting and out painting. And
Oh,
so what you can do is you can take a version 6 image, which is, in my opinion, much better than the version 5.2 images, and then upscale it to 5.2 and then play around with it.
nice. So there's so many different things that you can do inside of an LLM or inside of some of these art generation programs. Now, one of the things that I found really interesting is I like to tell the LLM to either zoom out or zoom in. And I found that if I tell it to zoom out of an image, it tends to give me more of the image with the background. If I tell it to zoom in, I might get more of a portrait or I can ask for a portrait. Now, if I go in and I ask it for this cinematic poster style, I can definitely generate straight up this way. Now, the other thing that I can do, now I can do no customization or I can do customize. I like to customize my content. Now, what if I had an image in mind? And what if I went to, say, deposit photo and I have the license for an image? I could potentially take that image and put it inside of my image to image, and it might give me that specific, maybe stance that a character has. And I could do that. Now, I could also generate straight up from my prompt. Now, this is a style that I like to use whenever I'm generating. I'll ask it to create a cinematic poster style image featuring a full body image of a fierce, attractive humanoid male with glowing neon tribal tattoos and long flowing hair in a dystopian world landscape. Now, I could say that it's colorful, and I could even say neon colors if I wanted to, but I want it to have an otherworldly location. The setting should be gothic, gritty, edgy, and dark. The attractive alien male should be imposing and part of maybe a syndicate, a mafia, maybe battle hardened with armor. So again, think of the things that you want to put in here. Now, could it be an orc? I could turn this into an orc. Could this be maybe a blue alien? I could make this some kind of fierce alien from an alien world and give it specific details of that alien. The other thing that I want to do is take a look. Now, earlier, whenever I did not have a prompt in here, remember, it did not have any of these top sections here. It had, yes, it had my cinematic and the warm cinematic. It even had Spielberg masterpiece, had black and white. But because of the detailed information that I have in here, it gave me the top sections up here that I can use. I tend to like to use either the night vision or I like to use this one right here a lot. So I'll use this MBBXL version 1.orc, and I tend to like to use that one. So let's take a look. Now, I do not have an image here, so I'm not using an image of a guy to prompt what my image looks like. It's going strictly off of my description here. And again, this is a very first image that I have generated here. So I have not done any type of training. I have not played with this one. It's a brand new playground. Now, I did ask it to give me a 512 by 768 because that's more of a portrait size. And here is my guy. Again, this is strictly off of the information that I gave him. Now, if I wanted him to be more muscular, I could state that inside of my prompt. And if I scroll down, and again, I'm going to let you know up front, when you are generating with an LLM, you have no idea what is going to be popping up on your screen. So I'm going to let you know that right now. So again, using the different prompts, you can load them here. Now, I do want to point out that Playground AI is actually, I can generate 500 images in 24 hours, and it doesn't cost me a thing. So I can actually generate variations of these. I can edit it inside of my Canvas tool. Again, if I like one of these images, I can create a variation. I can add additional detail and tell it what it is that I'm looking for. Now, what if I wanted to add a specific image of a character? I could do that. I could put an image of a guy within this section here. I could pull in an image, or I could drag and drop an image of maybe a bare chested man in here to get my alien guy. Any questions here right now?
No, ma'am.
And I'm going to generate one more time, but let's come back up and let's see what it does with the other prompt. Remember the prompt that we were looking at with the Navy SEAL? Let's go ahead and grab that prompt and let's see what it gives us here. And I am going to clear this out. I'm going to create on a canvas, or actually I like to use the board, but I'm going to ask it to create on canvas first. Here's the canvas. I really don't like doing it on the canvas, and maybe it's because it's an area that I'm not quite comfortable using at this point. So I will always go back to create on my board. So if I'm going to create on my board, remember, if I'm going to create on my board, because I just created the other image, it is going to show me these specific ones because I just used those. So let's plug this in. I'm asking for a book cover for the espionage and technology for the Navy SEAL for the woman. And I am going to pick one of these. Now, I could do Juggernaut. I could go in to do the Real Vision, and I could do either one of these. Now, sometimes the night vision looks good. Sometimes this one that I used before, the MBBXL, again, I tend to like that one a lot. Or I could come down and ask for a cinematic or the masterpiece or any number of these. And let's go ahead and use the same one and see what that turns up. But I want to make sure that I'm still in stable diffusion, and I want to make sure that I'm still at this 512 by 768. And I want to make sure that I still have 4 images. Now, I could change some of these, but I basically let it default. Any of these that are above the Pro, I can use for free. If I want to use any of the Pro items, then I would have to upgrade this account to a paid account. And again, I have information about the poorly drawn hands, the missing fingers. I'm going to add again, no letters. Let's see. Let's say letters, numbers, titles, names. And let's see what that generates for us. Now, if I have an image and maybe I want to make that image into, say, a print book cover, I could take that into Canva and I could even expand on it. Or I could use the dimensions for maybe the 768 by 52, which would give me more of the landscape rather than giving me the port. Now here it's asking me which image has the better quality that I might be looking for. If I were doing cartoons, I would pick this one. Now, I do recommend that when these come up, that you do answer some of these so that it takes a look at the images that you're picking. Now, you can skip it and go to the next image. And once you're done, just go ahead and X out. Now, see how these are more of a comic version? If you don't want it to be comic, then you would ask it to be more realistic, depending on what the needs of your cover are. Now, if I want it to be more realistic, I could rerun this prompt again. And maybe I want to use Real Vision, or maybe I want to use the cinematic. Does anybody in the chat want me to pick any specific filter here?
Give them a
And
minute. We'll see.
Okay. And let me scroll through this just so that y'all can see the different ones that are available.
Come on, don't be shy. Pick one.
If not, then I'm going to pick a
Oh,
realistic
ultra lighting.
ultra. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's see where ultra lighting is. Is that down toward the bottom?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. Let me look again.
You can search.
It's at the bottom left right now. Oh, now it's at the top one.
Oh, I see it.
Oh,
Go up. There you go.
I'm like, where's it at? Again, play with the different ones and see. Now, when you change it, always make sure that you have the same count that you wanted, because sometimes it'll reset and then you have to make those changes again. Some of these may actually come out really good. Sometimes you get something that is completely not what you want. Here I asked for no lettering, but it still gave me that. Now I could go into, say, Photoshop or inside a GIMP or another program, and I could remove all of this writing and not have to deal with that if I wanted to turn this into a cover. This one could definitely be a cover if it was something that maybe it's a time travel. Maybe we have, this gentleman traveling from the past into the future. Maybe that could be an interesting image to use for a book cover. Your title could go right across this section here, the author name down at the bottom. And then, of course, we have some comics down here. Let's take a look. And what other custom do we want to use next? Do we want to try something that's realistic, Dream Shaper, Real Vision, or do we want to try a cinematic or even the masterpiece? Is there another suggestion?
Not yet. Come on. Oh,
Okay.
somebody wants realistic.
Realistic? Let's try
Yes.
that. And let's go ahead. We have 4 and let's generate. And as you can see, I have the top 2 and the bottom 2 generating. It does take a little bit, and notice that during peak times it may be slower. Now, keep in mind, I've only generated 12 images out of 500. So I am telling you, you can just go to town on these, and you can make them different sizes as you saw up here. You can use any of these dimensions here. This one is more of a square. So if you're wanting to make maybe some promo images with a square, maybe you want specific backgrounds, you can do that. Maybe you have a specific couple or an image of a guy or a girl that you can use across different images. You can definitely create backgrounds here. Are there any questions pertaining to this specific tool?
Not yet. Don't be shy. If you want to know something, tell us.
Yeah, that's right. Speak up, y'all. This is your chance.
Now, if you have a couple in mind or a specific image of, say, a guy, and you want your character to have that specific stance, again, you could potentially load an image here. But keep in mind that what is generated, the LLM would only use that image as inspiration. It would not mimic that person 100%. It would just use that individual as some form of an example for it to follow. Now, I definitely wouldn't use this version because it did not give me an image that I liked. So I could trash it if I wanted to. Now, but what's interesting about this is that if I wanted to, I could remove the text here and I could put my own blurb here if I wanted to, or I could remove this information here in another program and I could put my own blurb up here and keep the cityscape. And here I would definitely, I could put red over here and I could put something specific in here if I wanted to, or I could end up putting another image over this or blending that out in another program. Let's take a look at what it would look like if I used cinematic. And as you saw, even though I've asked it to not use letters, numbers, text, it does sometimes put that in there.
Sometimes just mentioning it brings it to mind of the model.
Now, again, I could generate on any one of these sizes. Now, I can't go beyond 4 because this is not a paid version, but I could generate just one image at a time, 2, 3, 4. If I want to generate multiple, I can do that. Now, right now, this right here, the feature is available to pro users. Now, I can make things private or I can make them available to the public. Now, one of the ways that I can do that is I can come up here under actions, and under actions, I could come in, I can edit it, I can copy it, I can download it. So I can do different things to this specific image if I wanted to. Now, I could make this into a cover if I wanted to. Her eye's a little funky here. I could make this into a cover. Now, if I wanted a cartoon image, I could do that as well. Well, notice how all 4 of these ended up being really different. The top 2 are more like each other. These 2 are more comic, but the prompt that I used, same prompt, I used the cinematic. So again, think about the different ones that you want to use and how those specific prompts would impact the body of work that you are generating. So I'm going to grab one of these images in a minute and we're going to take it into Canva and we're going to play with this image. Now, one of the things that I like to do is take maybe a book blurb and I might ask the LLM to give me maybe a tagline, maybe a log line. I can ask it to give me specific, maybe ad copy information for maybe I want it to be an item that maybe I want to post to TikTok, or I want to post to Pinterest, or maybe even to X, which is formerly Twitter. Again, I can specifically ask the LLM chat or even ChatGPT or even Claude to give me copy ad for the different social media platforms. So this one's not bad, but I'd have to kill the content up here. And then I would need to remove the lettering down here. Or I could cut it off here in my image and then create something here for my cover. This one's not bad. I could use this one. Her legs are a little bit blurred, so I would probably skip her. And then I have these. She looks a little bit small here, but if you look, it looks like her arm has merged with him. And it looks like she's coming out of the image here. I don't mind this one, and we could do some variations, but take a look at the hands. Now, again, this is not a paid version, so I do not have as sharp as a tool as some of the different filters that I could use or some of the different training that I could use on the content. Again, depending on what you're using and what your needs are and what your level of comfort is with the system that you're using. Because I use so many different systems when I am trying them out, I do like to use the free versions until I get a hang of it. And then I will go into some of the paid versions, depending on what it is that I'm working on. Are there any questions in the chat at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So taking a look at some of these images, I know that I can take any of these and I could potentially put them inside of Canva to play with. Now, I could take this one and turn that one into something, or even this one into a cover if I wanted to. But it depends on what platform I'm looking at using this content in. So let's take a look at what it just generated with the new ones. Still try to pull it up. Again, if there are a lot of people using the program, it could take a little bit longer for you to generate content. Just a minute here, and we will play with one of the others. Oh, I like this one. That's cute. So let's say I want to use this image. We could use this one or even this one. Like number one. I like her eyes. So let's say I want to take this image here and I want to download this one and I want to take it into Canva. So one of the things that I could do is I could open this up and I could take this image and plug it into Canva. So let's go into Canva. I'm in the home section and maybe I want to create a design. Now I can search here for, say, an ebook cover. And it could give me this specific dimension of 512 by 800, but I tend to like a very specific size. So I'll go under the custom size. And under custom size, I like to do the 2820 by 4200. And that is pixel. And I will create an image here. Now, notice that I can do uploads. And let's take care of all that. Again, this is also a brand new account that we created just so that we could show y'all what it looks like when you do start from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and drag my file section here. Remember the image that we just created? I'm going to drag and drop that image. And as you can see, I can load images, I can load videos, I can also load audio files. So say you work in 11 Labs or you have recorded yourself maybe speaking the blurb, or maybe you have an audio book or somebody has recorded your blurb for you. You can actually drag and drop your MP4 over here, and you can have that file either as a video or audio that you can pair with your image. Now, my image is downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it here. Now, what if I wanted to show more of my image, I could potentially go in under Edit Photo and I could do the magic expand. Or if I wanted to remove all of the background image and leave just her, I could do the eraser. So let's take a look at that. I am going to duplicate my page and let me show you how under Edit Photo, how you can remove the background. Now, notice how it removed the background. That means that I can put any background that I want behind her. So maybe I wanted some type of gritty city. I could put that behind her. Maybe I wanted it to be a cabin and there to be a forest out the window. I could look for an image like that. What if I wanted to make her larger? I could enlarge her here. I could drag her to the bottom and I could put another background behind her. Now, I could definitely use her in a cover and have maybe the name of my author name up here. I could put a title across here, and I would look for a background that would match what it is that represents the tone or mood of my specific cover. Now, what if I needed a specific size to upload somewhere? That would come back into how we were at the home page and I gave it or fed it my dimensions. You can do the same thing. Now, let's take a look at this image here. This is exactly the image that I have loaded. But what if I want to expand the image? What if I want to see more of the bottom or more of the top or the sides? I could hit Edit Photo. I could go to the Magic Expand. I don't really like using these two sections. I primarily really like to use the freeform, and the freeform allows me to drag exactly where I want the image to go. Now, does it mean that I can only go to the direction that it's showing right now? No, I could actually potentially drag it out further if I wanted to. And I could bring it down all the way to the bottom, and I can ask it to expand. Now, again, this can be a hit or miss. Sometimes it can give you some really good information, and sometimes you need to regenerate depending on what it is within the image. Now, with this, I could use this as this first part here. I could use this as my ebook cover or as an image for, say, my serialized body. Or if I had a print book, I could use the whole image and have this be the front of my book. I could have a spine here, and I could use this section out here to be my back. Now, I can use either this variation, there's this variation, or this one, which this one's really messed up. And that's why I'm saying take a look at the images that it gives you and see which one fits for you. The bottom two, definitely no go. But I do like this one. I could definitely use this. Now, there's a little bit of messed up content here. So I could come in and I could do generate new results and I could ask it to do it. Or I could ask it to maybe I just want it to give me additional information for the bottom. Maybe I want to keep the image the way that it is, but I want to give it a little bit more information, maybe on the sides and maybe at the bottom. I could do that again. And then expand. And I do love this feature. It is such a cool feature. If you have a picture where maybe the top of his head is cut off and you want to add more hair, you want the rest of his hair showing, this is perfect because it will definitely expand for you. So this is how it expanded for me. Now, it does have the little line here, but if you are writing a title or using any type of light effect, you can cover that. So again, it's just another way to expand your image. Now, if I were to take this image and say that it is done, and now I can use this image, I could go in and find maybe under elements, I could find a black fade. And under my black fade, I might want, you could even do graphics, and it shows you all the different types of fades that you could put down here. Now, I could do a fade like this one if I wanted to, but I generally use the smaller fades if I want to make, say, a book cover title pop or my author name pop. That's what I would use there. I could use something like this to fade out the sides or the four corners. I tend to like to use things like this where I can maybe flip it around and just do the bottom and leave the top. Now, I can actually drag this up. And if I wanted to, I could duplicate that by hitting Control C, and then there you go. And it hides where that line was down at the bottom. Now, I could put a title here. Maybe I want to put text. Now, if I like a font here, I could click it and I could expand that. And I could put any type of lettering that I want here. And I can put drop shadows. I can put anything underneath there. Maybe I want a different type. Maybe I want it to glow. Maybe I don't want it to glow. Again, these are set ones that you can use. Or if you have a specific font in mind, you can add a header, you can add a subheader, add a little bit of body of text. Maybe you have a tagline somewhere. Maybe I want to put my author name down here. I could drag this down to the bottom. And of course, you would have to change your font color. And I could make that white. I could make it a gray. I could make it any color that I'm looking for. I could make it lower and uppercase, or I could make the whole thing capped. I can also go in and maybe I want to spread my words out. I can definitely do that, or I can bring them even together. So, depending on what I want to do with my content, I can also come in here and look for different fonts. I can look for something that'll be bolder. I can look. So, any of these I could definitely use depending on what the needs of my story is. Any thoughts, questions?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. And it's relatively easy now. What if I wanted this to pop more? I could actually go under elements. I could go to my black fade again. I can click on this specific area here, and I can either grab this one, which I can go right underneath, and I can, whenever I am doing that, I can stretch it out and I can put it underneath to make my content pop. Again, there's so many different things that you can do within Canva. Now, I could take this image here, and again, I just use the first default that I came to. You can put any type of lettering that you want here, and I could share this. I could download. I can do it as a PNG. If you do a PNG for a transparent, you would want to click the transparent background. But for now, I just want to do a JPEG. Now, I have 2 pages here. So I have to decide, do I want both pages or do I just want to select the page that I'm on? And I can do that and I can download that item. Now, say I want to go into BookBrush and I want to create maybe some images for my cover. I could actually come into BookBrush and BookBrush lets you do instant mockups. Custom Creator, you could do trailers, you can do book covers, you can do 3D images. And again, this is a brand new account. Let's see. I'm going to grab that image right here. Let's go ahead and drag and drop that here. Now, I have an image inside of BookBrush, and this is an image that I created in Playground, but then I moved it into Canva, played around with it, and now I have dragged and dropped it into BookBrush. And one of the things that I like about doing this is any cover that you have, you could potentially say, I want to see all of the images that are square. Or maybe I want to see the horizontal or the vertical. And I can ask for specific sizes. Now, I can also come down and look for a specific thing. Maybe it's a free book. Maybe I want something that has a holiday theme to it. I can do that as well. I have computer here, so I can pick specific areas that I want my promo images to represent. So I could do action and adventure. I could do computer. I could also set up ebook. If it was a cover reveal, I could do that as well. I could ask for people to be on there and it will show me people. So again, I can pick any of these items. Cozy, I can do coffee, I can do romance. Any of these sections I can pick. If it's a horror book, I can do that. If it's mystery, if it's a thriller, I can do that as well. And then I would just come through and pick the ones that I want. Maybe I want stuck at home. Maybe I want relax with a new book. Maybe I want this one, stuck inside again. I can do any of these images I can pick. Maybe I like this one, or maybe I want this one. So again, I can pick the different images that I want to see, and where you see the tablets or the books, that's actually going to be filled in with my cover. So now I'd have to up these. Some of these are blocked out, and I can't do them unless I upgrade. So again, if I upgrade any of these with the little lock, I can actually use. In one of my other accounts, I can use any of these because I have the paid version. This version is the free one, so I can actually use 12 templates for free. So I could potentially use any of these 12 that are free today, and I could use and generate any of these. Now, I can convert it. Let's see. Let's pick the book and now convert. Now, it takes a little bit for it to upload these. Now, sometimes I will do 100 or 200 images if I'm working with, say, a PA or a virtual assistant. And I can download all of these and then I can send her maybe a Dropbox link to my images so that she can grab them and then she can pre-schedule maybe on X, or she can pre-schedule on Facebook or any other social media, TikTok. So again, it's a great way to have promotional content. You can even within BookBrush, there's a section where you can add your own lettering that you want on there if that's something that you want to do. So, are there any questions in the queue right now?
There are no questions, but I'd like
Okay.
to add something when you're done with this section and we can go back to Canva.
Okay.
Are you going to cover the A plus content?
Probably not today because
Okay.
there won't be a lot of time to be able to do that A plus because that
And I
takes a
just
little
wanted
bit
to
of
mention
time.
it does do the A plus content.
Yes. And you can do your A plus there, which is phenomenal. So if I come in and open up my file, then I know that on my BookBrush, here's my image. and I can look at any of those. And it pulled in my cover. So as you can see, they have so many pre-mades in here. They have well over 1,000 images on the paid version. But these are really cute. They're fun ways to get your content out there and without having to reinvent the wheel. Thoughts? Questions?
No question. Only thought I can think of is download as many as you can the first time you go through this. The reason being, you don't want to have to keep coming back to it when you need more images. You already have them all there. It's just one click.
Yes. What were you wanting to see inside of Canva?
Can you open up Hello Darling, the one that you were working on last, where you were putting up? I guess it's the only one, really.
This one?
Okay. Yeah. Guys, when you're looking at this and the process that Mira came to bring this to fruition, to a full cover, there's something else you can do with this. And here's what it is. Once you start to write and you create a pen name or 20, you're going to need author page pictures for for any of the eGlobal that offer the opportunity to put your author picture, or say for Amazon's Author Central, which also has your author page. The reason I'm bringing that up is you can use this same process. Imagine this girl with a computer in front of her without any text in a square form. That would be your author picture. And if you're going to have several pen names, you would be able to create several different author pictures without having to use your own personal picture, particularly if you value your privacy and you don't want people to know. Just use the same process, make it a square, and there you have it. Also, we didn't show how you can, so different web pages or retailers will want you to use different sizes. Some might be 300 by 300, some might be 600 by 600, whatever the case may be. When you get ready to download this, you can show, Amira can show you how you can go from a 300 by 300 or whatever she's got selected to a different setting. And she'll show you when she gets up this part. Right now, what she's trying to do is make sure she completely fills up that square. And what dimension did you pick for this? Is this a 450 by 450 or what?
It's actually a logo size, so I can definitely pull up the size for you to take a look at. Let me go ahead and expand this.
Yeah.
And
And
again,
show
you don't always have to expand, but I love the tool for this.
Yeah, it's a very good tool. And you can show them how when they get ready to download, you can use that slider to bring up or down the number of pixels that you're using.
Yes. So there you go. I just expanded
Okay.
my image, so I have the whole image. Now, the other thing, say I wanted to have a logo, I could come in here under design and I could pick any of these to put my author name on there. Maybe I wanted to have, maybe I like this one and I want to put my name in here. I could do that. Again, there are so many different things that you could play with
Yeah.
to upload information. Keep that in mind as well.
Now click on
Now
share.
I'm going to click share.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're going to select to download.
Now I can download, I can share on social media, any of
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
I can print with Canva. I can put it on a shirt or anything else on products. And there are more options that I can pick from here. So again, there's so many different things that you can do here.
Yeah.
Now, to what Cece said, I'm going to hit download. And what would you like me to do here, Cece?
Looks, and I'm sorry, my screen doesn't magnify it as much, but it looks like it's 500 by 500. Say your retailer wants you to use 300 by 300. You would simply slide it down until you reach 300 by 300. So you'd have the correct, or as close to as the correct one.
Yeah.
You go a little over, you can go a little under sometime. You can also use that decimal right above that next to size. And you can get it even more precise if you want to
Yep.
get it exactly to 300. So then you can generate it. And during the nomenclature up at the top where it says Untitled Design Logo, you could put, I personally put author picture, and then I put the pixelation, the pixel sizes like 500 by 500, 300 by 300, so that when I generate it, I don't have to go back to hunt through properties to figure out the size of this. I already have it right there. And that way I don't have to delete it. I just put it in a file and select it for whatever that retailer calls for. I hope that helps.
So notice how I named this one and its author picture 500 by 500. This one I did not put a header on, but I can still add an image. I can add a name here. In addition to that, if I wanted to, I can share it. I can copy a link. And the other thing that I can do is say I want to create a file for these. I can create a file and I can move all of these images into one project. So again, there's so many different things that you can do within this tool. So
Yeah.
here, again, if I wanted to, I could download this. I could download both of them or only one of them. If I had a whole bunch of images, I could potentially come here and tell it that maybe I wanted to turn it into a GIF. Maybe I have audio and I want to turn it into an MP4. Again, there's so many different things that I can do here within Canva. Are
Yeah.
there any
And look,
questions?
not in the chat, but look at where it says page 1. You can rename that. So you can have each file named. So one would be maybe book cover. One could be author logo. One could be author picture. Any of that, you could just change any of that right there. Yep. Just like that. You could change it so per the background, like she wrote the background, you could do a country background, a city background, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mira.
You can definitely do that. And then whenever you go into share and you're looking at your download and you're looking at your images, see how it has the name here. And it makes it easier, especially if you have, say, 30 different images under the same area. You can pinpoint the image that you want to use. Thoughts? Questions?
Nothing in chat.
Okay. Lynn, is there another area that you wanted to maybe show or mention again? And ladies, would y'all mind sharing the different links to the items that we looked at today? I think you'll find that in our Discord
Yeah.
where I had input some information.
Of course. And I think we've probably covered enough that people's heads may be swimming by now. Is
But
there anything you would like to see in particular, anything you'd like to see again? Just mention it in the chat and we can briefly go over it. We do have a comment that says it's really helpful to see someone doing it with the detailed explanations you all provide happening at the same time. It makes it so much easier to grasp and see how things can look with AI.
what we will do is we'll create some we'll create some additional videos that show how to use each one of these. And that way, rather than having to go through the whole video, you can also go in and look at maybe some Canva specific videos or maybe some Midjourney specific videos. Lynn can maybe put some videos together for that and put it out on her site and out on AIWC. But if there are specific items that you would really like to see, don't be bashful. Ask us to create some different videos that will help you in crafting some of this stuff with your own bodies of work. What I can do is I can take one of my bodies, I can flesh something out just enough to be able to get my blurbs and content so that we can use that information. Now, what if with the information that I loaded on my Cajun Heat, one of the things that I could do before, and I know that we're almost at 2 hours, so I don't want to hold this too long, but what I can do here is I can go ahead and grab, let's say, let me go ahead and pull up a file real quick. So give me just a minute here to pull up a file. And I am going to go into a pseudo write file and show you how you can grab information. So say I'm here inside of pseudo write where I have stored some information about social media. Maybe I want to take my first one and ask for maybe a description. So let's go into my ChatGPT 4 and I'm going to ask it to give it to me on Cajun Heat. Now, keep in mind, it only has the first chapter in here.
Mira, while you do that, I'm not
Mhm.
able to find these links that you're talking about individually.
Okay, I'll go in there and find them. They're all together inside of the Discord chat that the three of us are in.
I'll look again.
Are they in the PDF?
No, they are not in the PDF. I can actually post them in there in just a
Oh,
moment.
wait a minute. Wait.
So let's go ahead and ask it to give us the tagline, the log line, the blurb, where passion and
got it.
danger ignite in the heat of the bayou, and the log line. So this one is actually for Cajun Heat. The LLM confused the other with a tech-savvy video game designer crosses paths with a former Navy SEAL in the sultry depths of Louisiana. A dangerous conspiracy threatens to engulf them both. We have a short blurb. We have a long blurb. Now, what else can you do here? Now, I've combined two different stories, and those two different stories have given me different types of blurbs. So let's take a look at what else we can do. Now, while this is generating, let's go in and look at, we can actually ask it to give us a book press release. And we can ask it to do Cajun Heat. And you can put in your author name. And you can hit enter. And it will give you information there as well. So as that is generating, let's take a look at the next prompt. So the next one, say you want some social media ad copy information. Maybe you want it for Amazon, BookBub, Facebook, Goodreads, or maybe there are other social media areas that you want to use. You could definitely input that as well. And here you go. Marigold's latest romantic thriller. It tells you about the bayou. You can put in your own city, your state. You can put in any information. Remember, this is just pulling off of the first chapter and a little bit of information that I've input. So it doesn't have my whole story information in there. So again, this is only off of my first chapter. Now, if I have generated the whole thing in this thread, my whole story concept, it would actually give me very specific information on my book. If you're doing a serialized platform and you have season 1 and season 2 inside of your thread, you can ask it to give you information for season 1. You could ask it to give you information for season 1, episode 1. So again, you can get just as specific as you want it to be. Now, I do like to ask it to give me the emojis and the hashtags, because depending on where I'm inputting the information, it will give me that information. Are there any thoughts, questions, comments?
Nothing in the chat.
Did you find the list?
Miss Lynn did, and we put them up there.
Okay, perfect.
She put them up there, and I've notified everybody to copy them and grab them. But that if they miss it or lose it, it'll also be in the comments of the YouTube video on the AIWC channel.
Oh, perfect. Again, you can ask it to give you very specific information for your social media promos, and it is still going. Now, one thing that I like to do is if I'm having stuff loaded to TikTok, I like to tell it to give me like 30 of them or 60 or 90 at a time. And I'll just keep asking it to continue until it has all of them done. That way, if I am loading my stuff, I can load multiple scheduled items there. I can schedule 30 days in advance. I can do 60. I can do, say, I'm posting on Facebook and Facebook sends it to Twitter and to X. Perfect. Because that way I can pre schedule stuff in one area. And whenever it shoots out, it sends it to the other platforms as well. So make sure that you're taking advantage of the different options within each tool. Thoughts, questions?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. And again, if you are looking at the DALL-E sizes, what ChatGPT 4 can do, it lets you know what the portrait, the wide, and the square. And those are pretty typical. And if you're not sure what sizes, simply ask the question. What are the book cover sizes and promotional artwork? So if there are no other questions, give me just a minute here.
Anybody have any questions? Or are you just so overwhelmed? Or are you sitting back and working on your own work?
Maybe all of the above.
Maybe there you go.
They're so quiet.
I know.
Let me go ahead and go to the next slide then. And I do want to thank everybody for attending today. And I want to take a moment to recap the important themes and insights from today's session. We covered a lot of information. We talked about the impact of AI on cover design, ad copy, and the creation of promotional content, highlighting the versatility and power of these tools. Now, it's important to remember that AI is simply a tool to augment our creativity. Keep in mind that the AI cannot produce anything without your guidance. The AI is not going to replace us as a creative. It is a resource tool for us. So embrace these technologies as resources in your creative process. Now, after this session, I encourage you to continue experimenting. Play with these tools, apply what you've learned, ask questions. So many of these tools actually have tutorials. Take a look at some of the tutorials that are built into the system. And if you're interested in further resources or wish to connect with any of us ladies for follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. eGlobal writers may find us on the Microsoft Teams, and we're also available in the AI Writer Connection Discord, as well as in the eGlobal Discord. As we close today, again, I want to express my sincere gratitude for your participation. And I want to thank Gayleen and eGlobal Creative Publishing for allowing us to actually showcase these skills and these workshops. Again, thank you so much, Gayleen, and I've had so much fun. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you very much. This was a really fun one. They all are, but this one was really fun. Thank you very much, Marigold, for all your work that you put into this and sharing all this with you. Thank you to Cece and Lynn as well for helping going through, and Lynn for all that sharing that you did today. Everybody, we have one more session of this series, so we'll get the link up to that by the end of the week. And I thank everyone for coming, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.